Hey YouTube, it's Petey Two Finger, and one of the things, one of the genres of YouTube is trip report. Now, not to be confused with guys that will read Datura or Devil's Trumpets, Scolopamine. They'll go to this website called Arrowwid, the Vault. It's called, and Arrowwid is a place where people report their drug experiences, good or bad, or horrific even. Like, let's say there's some drugs that you take that you need to be, after you've taken them, like you need to stay in the room that you took them in. You don't need to be going out into public when you're on a deliriant, you know. And if you do, you'll end up like the best thing for someone who is on a delirium and they're roaming around talking to buildings is that they'll get apprehended, brought into a hospital or a care facility where they can be administered proper care until they've come down and they're able to take care of themselves. Now, we as a society, we have our responsibility as parents to protect our children. Children, and I mean when I say that word children, I mean up until and past the age of 21. I'm not of the opinion that in our society today that you're an adult when you're 21. You're still a goofy kid. Now, as parents, um, I don't see people protecting their children from the internet. It's like give the kid a little phone, a little things as soon as you can. Let's say the kid's 6 days old, get him a little phone, a thing, and get him plugged into that screen. So it's just feeding him that information. And that way, when you take him out, he won't be kicking and screaming. Rather than say no when the kid kicks and screams, or you already have that at home. That's what I always see is some kid flipping out, and the mom will say, we have that at home, you know. But the kid doesn't understand because it's never been told no. Like that's the first thing that you need to instill in a child is no. That's your job as its caregiver because you love the child. You say no to it. It doesn't make you bad. It doesn't hurt the kid because there's two things in life: yes and no. And the quicker you get to terms with both of those, the better off you'll be. And as kids get older, what I'm talking about here is it's not the trip reports like that. That stuff is actually good. The trip reports are good because nobody is making a trip report story that says, I took X amount of X substance and I sat there and tripped my ass off and realized that I'm a self-centered piece of shit in the way that I treat everyone around me and I need to start working on changing. I'm being a better person to everyone else, not being so selfish and demanding of people, whatever your problem may be. No one's going to make a trip report video of a kid that sat in his room and listened to some music with headphones on and came to terms with his father's death or something, father's disappearance. Because those drug experiences are out there. And they're actually more common than the ones when people end up arrested or in the hospital. Now, there's no clear and present solution for me to say, like YouTube needs to moderate drug channels. Censorship is not good. But what I've been noticing is these channels that really glorify the drugs. And then there's the like white boy, Naperville, like rich, like came up in the suburbs, got a job at the grocery store, saved up enough money to get an apartment, and brought his buddies with him, even though they didn't have jobs. And then they sit there and get high in this empty apartment, and then he's calling it the trap house. He had a video about his dad finding his tabs of whatever research chemical that he thought was LSD that he bought, and then another one tripping at Applebee's. There was a 7-part series. Each of these videos is 30 or 20 minutes long, all about then Corey's mom's car. Corey's brother had to drive us, like, just like, and he's talking about lean and cocaine and like, I'm just like, I'm reading all of it's like Jakey 420 guy, Tyler the 420 dog, all these kids that 6 months ago it was Jakey the Minecraft boy. Now he's 420 dog, and he's getting all of his advice. You know, here's a video on Goblin's channel that's getting high on NyQuil, and then in the video he's like, "Oh, I don't like the taste of it." You know, I'm like, how many kids are seeing that thumbnail and immediately running into the bathroom under the bathroom sink to get the NyQuil? You know? So, the other guy is, he's just rapey. He looks like if you took drugs with him, you'd end up with his penis in you. Like, he really looks like he wants to rape. Like, he's got all these roofies and chemicals, and like, he's always wearing these weird like mountaineer hats with the little things hanging down, and he's ripped. He's huge, so he can hold you down as he has his way with you. But that guy, I don't know what to say. Do we need? I guess what it comes down to is the common sense thing that if you procreate, if you end up with a kid, then it's your job to raise that child, knowing that there's people out there on YouTube that want to drag your kids down into addiction. There's people that they're not going to be happy. I was never the type of guy who would run into a connection for some type of drugs, get the drugs, and then tell everybody and get enough to turn everybody on. Okay, I've seen people that are like that. They get 2 beers in them, and immediately they got to find the young person in the room who's never really done drugs, get that person, leave with them, buy a bunch of cocaine, and turn them onto it. I've seen somebody. I know someone who has done this countless times. Me, the better, the harder, or the more difficult to get that the drug was, the more I was climbing up. I wouldn't tell all my little buddies, hey, guess what? I just went and did a bunch of PCP or heroin or coke or LSD, whatever it may be. And acid was always the king of that. It was like no one could get acid, and at least all these kids that basically, if they did get a hold of it, they would do something stupid with it and end up getting arrested, or their parents would take them into the ER, which you don't want either of those. So, it's only gotten worse, and it's only getting worse with all these research chemicals. So if you're out there and you have a kid, you need to really think twice about What you need to do is spy on their asses and see what they're into. Find out if the guy is if your son is going to gay porn sites, then you'll know in advance. Find out if he's going to these drug uh, Goblin 420, Goblin whatever pills fall in an eye shot of me. These guys, if they're a big fan of that, then you know you need to start counseling them about drugs, and it's already too late. They've smoked weed, but maybe you can get them to not go under your sink and start drinking out of bleach bottles and stuff in an attempt to get high and end up wandering around talking to buildings in traffic. You know, that's the thing. And these type of goofs, these guys that, yeah, I had my job at the Jewel Osco and then I rented an apartment and I brought my buds with even though they didn't work, and calling that a trap house, or taking their, because they smoked in it, taking their asset, which there's no way it's LSD. It's some Enbome or some weird drain cleaner that somebody put on some construction paper, taking their fake acid and then going to Applebee's. I mean, I don't even know what to say. And then he was like, I know people are going to gripe about that, but the food was really good and it was really cheap. Like, why wouldn't we? Well, because you're taking LSD or some type of incapacitant, you know, and you're young. Why you would think that that's something fun to do? I guess because you never found a forest reserve that you could go build a campfire in. You never thought to do that, because I've done that in February with a couple cases of beer and a couple of my friends, and I got to tell you, I those were the times that I look back most fondly when I took a psychedelic. Those experiences. Anyway, this type of channel, this type of content is horrifically bad. The rapey guy, and then there's this goblin. You could go check it out if you're. Don't go check it out. Trust me, you're better off not knowing about these jokers. Take care of yourselves. Stay warm. Hug your pets. And peace.